you have the competencies to be in the place that you are put. And I was reminding myself of recent conversations where people would say to me, "You have held up. You have done well in this onslaught." And I realized that what has held me up is the assurance of competence. Simply, no decision that I have made in my role as Chief Justice or in my capacity as President of a panel of the Supreme Court has come from anything but a knowledge of law. No matter how many noises are made, the law is the law. And the only answer one can give to all the hand-waving is the legal answer, unless we want something else. But I am quite sure that Ghana as a society is not looking for Chief Justices that bend and give them something other than law. And therefore, here I am. Everyone gets the law. I was listening to our Lady Chair on ensuring that you have the competencies to be in the place that you are put. And I was reminding myself of recent conversations where people would say to me, "You have held up. You have done well in this onslaught." And I realized that what has held me up is the assurance of competence. Simply,
government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, "Ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign." Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana. Today is the 27th of March, 2025. My name is Audu Moro, and it's always a pleasure coming your way. As always, we'll say a big thanks to the Almighty God for seeing us alive, for the gift of life. We're back here to join the nation's conversation, what's happening in our dear country, Ghana. Before I let you in on my guest for today, as usual, we'll bring you the front page of the newspapers, and I'll start, as usual, with the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic this morning reports that Parliament abolishes e-levy. Bill awaits presidential assent to give effect. President nominates 71 MMDCEs for 8 regions. Petition against Chief Justice Lawful, lawyers. The Ghanaian Times. Ghana Traditional Council bans drumming, noisemaking in Gamashin, May 12, June 11. Parliament approves abolition of e-levy. Ghana ranks high in labor, utility services, business insolvency, WB Report 2024. President named 72 DCEs in 8 regions, pending approval by assemblies. The Daily Guide. Mahama names 71 new MMDCEs for 8 regions. NDC not committed to Galamsey fight, NPP. E-levy, gold, betting, lotto taxes gone. April 30, D-Day for Akwetia MP. Skytrain probe, national security questions Amewu. The New Crusading Guide. Adhere to ban on drumming and noise-making. Ghana Traditional Council to citizens. Coming up, how Minerals Commission sold its cantonment property to a private developer. Small-scale miners fight Akwetia NDC chairman over alleged harassment and extortion. NPP tackles Mahama for failing to combat illegal mining. NHIA to expedite reimbursements to healthcare providers. Sami Oku to unveil Ekropong Ofie market. The Insight. Mahama's 24-hour economic kickstart. Fuel stations to operate 24 hours. MPA boss calls for security agencies' support. Stop defending Edubuahine's rot. NPP's Vincent Asifua tells party lawmakers. Israel kills 700 in 1 week as it resumes targeting of hospitals and journalists in Gaza. CAF University unveils new logo after receiving presidential charter. And also French neocolonialism, main cause of our underdevelopment, business activists reiterate after release from prison. The Daily Post. Fuel stations to operate 24 hours. Edudi calls for security agencies' support. Parliament approves scrapping of e-levy, emission levy, and betting tax. President Mahama releases first list of MMDCEs. Professor Bokwe commends government on tax policy reforms. The Daily Searchlight. After failing for 8 years, MPP lampoons NDC over Galamsey. Fuel stations to operate 24 hours. Edudi calls for security agency support. Jospon Group, CTVET, and Ghana TVET Service collaborate to boost skills development. The Business and Financial Times. Oil cartels accused of orchestrating anti-SML campaign. Over dependence on T-bills for government financing unsustainable, Standard Bank. Fuel stations to operate 24 hours. MPA boss calls for security agencies' support. High cost property permit delays threatening business growth. So these are some of the stories, or these are the front page stories of the newspapers that we have. We'll be right back with my guest who are already seated. Please stay with us.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh bread.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of bantama.
Machasi.
That's a cycle.
It's her smile. The fresh bread.
Me, Jidi said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasan. Kile hosan. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh bread. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Look around.
Home also need a makeover.
Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
A table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashform store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashform, feel it, know it.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Energy drink.
Ama, nansi mi jeno wo bin enko ye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basima kura. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oyiwa. Eni mo go. Give us JC lecture. And then the capsules are your noom boom and want some na more kana. A boy and ma any memina. Nema ba ye obesima. Na bear must why your bemisima. Ya, we the boy who I'm a neck giant sour the shelly button. No when you yan and into sessing you or you chop one. GC mixture and a capsule.
A pay for a batter, one more menu for one and Quada when you feel to me.
Hello my friends, my name is Calcate's toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me, that's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calcates, happy smile.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP. Take up and Aricop organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
You're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let me remind you that this show is proudly associated, or Blue Jeans Energy Drink, rather, is proudly associated with the Good Morning Ghana program. The Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been on the Ghanaian market for more than 20 years, and we already know what it does for the body. It's got vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, and B12. It's got taurine, it's got guarana, which are known to boost your strength and your energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. So Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been tested and is being generally accepted by the public to be a fantastic drink. And so if you want to buy them in bulk, it's in shops nationwide. So for bulk purchases, call Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190, 0208 128 190, or 055 001 000, 055 001 000. So please give it a shot, try it, and let me know how the experience has been like. So joining us this morning for, as usual, what promises to be a great and a fantastic conversation here on the show. Two gentlemen you haven't seen or heard from in a while as far as the Good Morning Ghana program is concerned. Both of them are lawyers, and both of them are members of their party's legal directorate. So here I'm talking about the Honorable Lawyer Kojoga Adawudu, who is a member of the NDC's legal directorate. He's joined us this morning for a conversation. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana.
It's a pleasure.
You haven't been here in a long time. I hope I am right on that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You abandoned us.
No. I think I was engaged in doing some other things. So maybe that was why I've not been in the public's eye for some time.
Party work and then, of course, personal.
Oh, definitely.
Private practice.
Sometimes you always have to add value to yourself.
Right.
So
That's important. And also this man, you haven't heard from in a while as well. He's been here several times. He was out of the jurisdiction, but he's back in town. I'm talking about the Honorable Ishaq Ibrahim. He is a law lecturer at UPSA and also a member of the MPP's legal directorate. And so he's also joined us on the show. Lawyer Ishaq Ibrahim, good morning. Thank you very much for the time.
Good morning to you, and good morning to the esteemed listeners.
Right. So I can comfortably call you Ishaq Ibrahim Esquire, and that's fine.
That's fine, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Kojoga, you are a member of the NDC's legal directorate. Just before we get into the more substantive issue, there's been one concern which has been expressed. So you're a member of the NDC's legal directorate. That's what they indicate.
Actually, it's the legal committee.
Oh, the legal committee
is the functional
wing
of at the head office.
Oh, okay.
So they belong to the NEC and they work under the party structure under the general secretary. But the committee is of the party.
Right.
Yes.
So it's more appropriate to say you're a member of the NDC's legal committee.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ishaq, you work the same For you too?
I'm not really sure. For me,
committee?
my director just told me
Okay.
when they asked you, a member of the legal directorate, Gary Nimaku.
Okay.
But as you said, maybe he's more in tune with the way the legal director really works. For me, I just know that we represent the party legal interests. And where there's a need to communicate about legal issues, we do. If there's a need to go to court, to help, yes.
I see. And Godwin Eduzi Tamaklo is the Director of Legal Affairs of the Directorate.
Yes, of the Directorate.
So the committee is more like, it's like...
the committee is bigger.
It's bigger than the
we have
Directorate.
about 25 to 30 member of the committee established by the party. Then the Directorate has Eduji as director, Baba Jamal and George Lowe as the deputies. And then they have a coordinator. They run the daily affairs, helping the party hierarchy. So the general secretary and the chairman, if they want something quickly, before the legal committee, sometimes we sit down and consider the way we go. And when there's issues where we have to run for and on behalf of the party, it is referred to the committee and we look at it.
Oh, that's cool. That's fine. So speaking about someone like George Lowe, I mean, he's now with the National Security outfit, you know, and Godwin Eduzi Tamaklo is now with MPA. And of course, if you look at the party's functional executive committee, so you have persons like Sami Jemfi, who is now at PMMC, which is now soon to be Gold Board. And then you have Ruth Sedo, who's the deputy youth organizer. She's now with the National Service. You have Osman Ayariga, National Youth Authority. You have, what's the name? Malik Basintale, who is now with YEA. And the list goes on and on. So the persons whom we can confidently say are sitting at the party headquarters and are working will be Fifi Kwete, who's the General Secretary. And then you have the National Chairman, Johnson Asedun Ketia. And you have Akogan, you know, our very good friend, Akogan, who's there as the Deputy Communications guy. And then perhaps Kake Samwa, the Director of Communications. So these are the persons who are, and then perhaps Barbara Samwa. Barbara Samwa, Deputy General Secretary, they are there. Now, do you agree with those who say that the very architecture of what has happened has the potential to undermine and to weaken the party? Because the individuals who have been helping the party to function optimally, supposedly, have now been drafted into government.
I don't really see it. It's yes, it might be the symptoms that or people may perceive that it may weaken the structures because the way we communicate. You see, when you are in opposition, the way you communicate is different from when you are in government. Now, all you need is the institutional memory. And the head or the chief executive of the party is the general secretary. I think they have piloted it before. They've tried it before in 2009, when most of the party officials went into government. So I think there's a template that they are following that they will look at. But whilst the general secretary who holds the party and the national chairman, they have the institutional memory of it. We have an administrator of the party. So he sees to the daily activities, everything that have. So he is a permanent employee of the party with other people working. Now, under the directorates, we have people who coordinate the affairs. So in the communication, they have somebody who communicates all the activities. In legal, they have somebody who communicates. So I believe that whilst these people are moving into government, what that had been communicated, what seemed to be wrong, was done wrongly by the previous government. I'm sure they are now going to see if we substantiated, those actions will be taken to reverse or put it in the right and on the right path. And I think it is also in line with the vision of the president, that this is how the team I want, and this is where we want to get to reset. So we have done it before, and I'm sure that shouldn't be much problem. I think the transition will be there. Whilst there are old hands, new hands will be brought on, and I'm sure that whilst new hands are brought on, new faces are brought on, they will also learn, and these people will chaperone them. Whilst they are in government, they will chaperone them and know the activities, because it's going to be a new agenda that will have to be set. Whilst in government, how do you communicate in government? Mostly you are going to communicate what government has done, what is the vision, what has been done so far. Unlike whilst in opposition, you needed some other very forceful arguments things that you have heard, you've perceived, you've heard allegations that you have to put in the public domain to compare with. So I think that once we have tried that in 2009 and 2013, we saw some of this. I'm sure that there will be a smooth transition in that.
And Ishak, perhaps I'll also run this by you, but
yeah.
Do you think that perhaps it's about time that the political parties look at, you address this transition thing much better so that it's tidier?
Yeah.
So that you have a situation where, for instance, if you go to Congress, that should be next year.
Yeah.
You may want to look at some amendment to the party's constitution that looks at how, for instance, when persons are drafted into government, what does the party do almost immediately so that a certain lacuna or a certain gap is not created in the meantime? Because some things have happened in this government that has sort of lent itself to these concerns that have been expressed, especially on social media. And of course, a few friends who will call and say, look, so where's this person, where's that person, where's that person? There's a gap. It ought to be filled as quickly as possible. Because once you draft them in, they focus on their jobs and that's it. Anyway, so I don't want to have some thoughts to share briefly.
Okay, yes. My worry is not actually that it will even weaken the party.
Okay.
My worry is that it can even introduce nepotism to the workplace.
Okay.
For example, I've listened to one of them, Osman Ayaraga,
who
made it very clear on TV that if he's in his office and there are available vacancies, he prefers NDCs to employ them.
Okay.
Yes. MPPs are Ghanaian, the CPP are Ghanaians. The resources that you'll be using is for Ghana. So that is where my worry is. So yes, maybe I'm not saying, if you hold a party office, at the end of the day you are still a Ghanaian. They should be able to employ you. Perhaps that would you can then free up that position for other people to do. Maybe that's where you can call for party constitutional amendment. But for someone to say that I'm now holding a public office and my priority is for NDCs, that is actually very, very worrying. That means we're not going to build a nation. Because if at any time you would prefer a particular group of people, it wasn't hidden. You can just search in YouTube, you'll get it.
Okay.
He said it, I think in GH1 or one of the media, it was reported. And he was very emphatic about it. Very bold.
But Ishak, isn't that the reality?
No, yes. So we have always been suspicious of it. But for somebody to boldly declare it, that means that he doesn't even care whatever the Constitution says.
My point is,
I am not just blaming Osman Ayarga alone.
Okay.
But as I said, we're looking at it as a general context.
Okay.
Yes, if you can find elements in MPP, that would probably say that. But for me, if you are going into a public office, the focus should be Ghana. Because you are going to use Ghana resources.
And you mean this advice goes both ways?
Yes. But somebody to boldly state it, then that is actually very
You will demoralize your base.
Sorry?
You will demoralize your base.
No, but you see, the currency of morality is not really about your base. But you see, if we all say let's motivate our base, at the end of the day, we all want to develop Ghana.
Okay.
And if we keep doing that without telling this truth, if both parties can make it clear that, look, when we come to power, our focus will be the Ghanaian.
Okay.
Whoever is competent and can do the work, yes. But the argument that you just have about motivating your base has always been the argument.
Yes.
But is it morally right? We have a problem. So that means that if you identify yourself as an MPP, for the next 4 years, you remain unemployed. If Osman Ayaraga has the opportunity to be making the decisions, or people who similarly share his mind. So I believe that would just be wrong.
Okay.
So maybe the constitutional amendment can be made in place. And maybe people who are occupying this state institution, we need to make it very clear that they will do justice to all manner of people, regardless of political colors.
All right. So speaking about morality, and for that matter, the law, and your concerns that once political power is handed over to a political party and they come to government, they must treat everybody fairly and justly.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And not basically discriminate against anybody. There's a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And this is about the second or third, I believe. So there's a story that says 40 sacked public service personnel sue government for wrongful dismissal. And the story here says that 40 dismissed workers were employed in 2024 by various public sector agencies in the country have sued government for wrongful dismissal. The dismissals were based on a directive by the Chief of Staff of President Mahama, Honorable Julius Debra, dated 10th February 2025, to all public sector institutions to dismiss workers who were employed under the SYLMP government from December 7, 2024, the day the presidential and parliamentary elections were held in the country. Now, the famed Julius Debra letter instructed all heads of government institutions to undertake the revocations because they were consistent with government pronouncements in relation to near end of tenure appointment and recruitment. Hence, all appointments and recruitment made in the public services of Ghana after 7 December 2024 are not in compliance with established good governance print practices and principles. The 40 agreed workers who have sued government are being represented by Dami and Partners, that's the former Attorney General, and a law firm believed to have been founded and is being run by Godfrey Dami, the former Attorney General of the Republic. Six government agencies being the Ghana Revenue Authority, the National Lottery Authority, the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Shippers Council, and the National Health Insurance Authority are listed as co-respondents with the Attorney General. Among the reliefs being sought by the deponents are a declaration that neither the President of the Republic nor the Chief of Staff of the President has the power to remove a member of the public services from office, save and except on grounds of specified in Article 191B of the Constitution. A declaration that the directive of the Chief of Staff of the President of the Republic dated 10th February 2025 requesting all heads of government institutions to take the necessary steps to annul any appointments or recruitments after 7 December 2024 is unlawful, null, void, and of no effect. And an order of certiorari to bring in the decision of the Chief of Staff of the President complained of and quash same as being in a violation of due process, particularly Article 191B of the Constitution, the relevant laws and disciplinary regulations for the public service of the Republic of Ghana. Our reliefs include an order of mandamus compelling the respondents to allow the applicants to resume normal duties as members of the public services or the respondents herein, an order prohibiting the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh respondents from dismissing or removing the applicants from the office except in accordance with Article 191 of the Constitution and damages for the harm, inconvenience, and hardship caused the applicants. The deponents, I believe, that's how lawyers call it. Okay, the deponents aver that they sought jobs with these public institutions in the year 2024 and underwent processes which saw some of them undertake aptitude tests and regular interview processes. They further claim that they were not appointed after December 7, yet their letters of revocation in some cases cited the Chief of Staff's directive. Now, Eko Vincent Assefa, the MP for Tafo, yes, has been leading the charge against this injustice perpetrated by the Jubilee House. I know the law is on our side. These 40 people have deposed to the facts of this case represent at least 5,000 people who have been unlawfully terminated in the country by this Mahama-led government. It is not right, and they will get their due from the law, said the Tafo lawmaker. So that's the suit, as you can see displayed on your screens. I will find out from Kojoga. Victor, what do you make of this suit? It's not an entirely new issue anyway. So,
but before I come to this, let me just respond to what Ishak said.
Okay.
You see, Hamza Ayariga.
You mean Osman?
Oh yeah, Osman
Ayariga.
I think, for me, I will commend him. You know why?
Why?
He's been bold to say that this is what I would do if I get the opportunity.
He had the opportunity already.
Yes. So he will give the first consideration to people he thinks are loyal, he can work with. Right? You see, when we become ostriches, cowards, then we implement something silently, confidentially. We don't. We put people, tomorrow you go, you see this person employed, he's a party parachick, and you say that because I come out and say it, I should be condemned. When you are doing the wrong thing, you know, and you keep quiet. You want to live a double standard life. When you are in leadership, and the leader says, this is my vision, this is how I want to go,
Then we condemn it in public, and in private we think we come and say you are doing the right thing. No. Yes, this is what the leader at that institution is saying, that if there's vacancies, I believe I will give it people who are loyal to me, who buys into my vision. He didn't say I'm going to put incompetent people in there. We all know it's an open secret that it has always been there, that they look at chicks when employment. Now, employment had become an issue of politics. Why are we running away from that fact? We have seen it. If we think that it was wrong yesterday and it is being done today, are you getting it? Until all of us come to realization that what we are doing to ourselves is wrong, you cannot condemn one. I always say, before there is justice, there must be an injustice. Listen, Moro, let me tell you, you see, there are a lot of things that will be coming. People were employed, even the security service. Let me tell you, some of them are in training. They reported for training 24th November 2024. You know when they gave their appointment letter? The appointment letter was 1st November. Some are even 40, 50 years. You see, there are a lot of things that is not being communicated. If you think that was wrong, you condemned it. You had the opportunity. You couldn't correct it. Now, people who felt also, you see, we have made the society to see that people belong to political parties just because to get the opportunity and also be able to serve, to able to have job. This is what we have created as a society. How do we solve this problem? We don't go and hide. When we hide, then we say, oh, you see, I can't say it publicly, but we can do it privately. We can do it secretly, in confidence. I think that Ayega should be commended. Then let's find solution to the problem. Let's find solution. People also work hard to make sure that I also get an opportunity. It was the same in 2016. People worked so that 2017 to now, they had an opportunity. The space, the employment opportunities that is why we are saying opportunity for all. You think the people that they were sacked, were they only NDC or MPP? Those who were employed. They are all Ghanaians. I have cousins. I have people who had also been sacked. The number of people who come to me every day that, oh, we've been sacked. We've been sacked. Let me give you the simple reason. You see, we have the Presidential Transition Act. And it says that before there is a handover, 30 days before the election, there should be handing over. Handing over will tell you the number of people who have been employed. It will tell you what is happening in the ministries, those on the wage bill. You don't go through the process. Yes, you may have started going through the process. Then they backdate some of the appointments. But they have forgotten that when you backdate, were they taking salaries? When you were employed. If we think that we know that this is a problem, this is an issue, I think it is for us as citizens and the leadership, we sit together and find solution that never again. We had the opportunity in 2009, President Mills. He said that yes, we know the pain, we know what has gone on, but you see, let's clean the slate and we start on a new note. What did we see 2017? What did we see 2017? So is it that, let's say I'm a father and my children should always just be at the receiving end? Anytime it happens, the other father will come with the children, maltreat my people. When they maltreat and they do everything, I say, oh, it's okay. Keep quiet. Vengeance is for God. So let's leave it like that. Another opportunity, when they have opportunity, they come back to my house and beat my children, maltreat them. Then I say, now my children also says, no, I'll be ready If the opportunity also come, if you come and then, you see, if it is wrong, let's say it is wrong.
I agree with you.
We should not pretend that it is all right.
But
Honorable, look,
Honorable, you were very much aware
yes,
of this feature in our body politics.
Exactly.
Right? And you were not happy about it in opposition. The president and the party in opposition then decided that, look, we cannot continue like this. Right? So the central theme of your campaign in the last campaign
yes,
was to reset this country.
Exactly.
Now, the layman's understanding of reset is that let's go back to what ought to be the status quo.
Exactly.
Right? Let's go back to what ought to be the normal ways of doing things.
Exactly.
So if the NDC comes to power, and the NPP then says, so the NDC then says, well, I have been given a position, and the persons who are working with me, wherever I find myself, I'll have to now decide who has to work with me, first of all, based on loyalty, and before the other criteria, kicks in. Did we go or did we come?
No. Let me see. We said we are going to reset.
Yes.
So far, are we doing the same thing that the previous government did?
Well, no, but just earlier.
No. Are we doing the same thing? Things are being done.
You've just referred to Ishak on what they did in the past.
Yes, exactly. And I'm saying that people who have been sacked.
Yes. Yes.
I gave you an example that the Presidential Transition Act is in it that in let's say Ghana Health Service, right? We have 100 employees. What is the figure they have stated there? Only to come, one, it is not in the handing over. Then you come and after that you tell me that you have 500 people. Did they go through the procedure? It affects everybody. We can't say it is only NPP people who have jobs. But we want to correct the system. So we are saying that, look, you have not gone through the process. After they've done the audit, you've not gone through the process, or the process was defective. So all of you go home. When the opportunity comes, it's for all Ghanaians. The opportunity will be, there will be publication that we are taking people here. When was the last time you ever heard that there was publication that they are taking people in the... But in this era, things are going to be reset. And I'm saying that this is the beginning. We should not say that it was wrong, that thing has been done, but because they are Ghanaians and procedure have not been followed, we should allow it. That is not it. That's why I'm saying that, look, they tell you that even in the president, why is it that the intention of the framers of that act, the Presidential Transition Act, says that give me notice, even when there's transition, tell me what happens at the ministry, in the agencies. You have not done that. And you want to foist that on me when it is not in the handing over notes.
Okay.
So when auditing has been done and they realize that the process has been defective, just have given you people who are in training. Some are in 40 years, some are 50 years. But they've not been sacked, right? They are doing the auditing to find out and see what was the process. We're not shocked when I said appointment had been given 1st November, when the people reported for training 24th November. How? And I can tell you that, look, as we go on, you find a list. All the people who brought this person, who brought this, all protocol and everything. I'm sure in the coming days, as we go ahead, you will see the rot. So, yes, everybody should be given the opportunity. But that doesn't mean that the law should be bent. The procedure should be bent and say that, oh, let's forget, it's all about Ghanaians.
Okay.
I'm not saying those who have been sacked. I have families. I have siblings. I have people. People are from my community who have also been sacked.
Oh, you mean they are casualties?
Why not? But when they come, I tell them that, look, you know what? Let's see the process. You see, the fact that they've gone to court, they have their right to go to court. But I'm sure that they will look at it. The Labor Act also gives some laws. State institution, the only rider in that is that if it's a state institution and they think that the dismissal was unfair, the court has power to reinstate you. But the Labor Act also says that you cannot force me to employ somebody I don't want to work with.
Okay.
So I'll give you notice. Yes, I'll give you notice. I'll give you notice. And in lieu of notice, if I don't give you that notice, I'll give you the public sector. That's why I'm saying that.
It's not a private sector. This is public sector.
No. You see, some of the institutions you are talking about, the institutions you are talking about are not strictly sensu civil service or public service. Are you getting? So yes, they have a right. They should go to court, but I'm sure that Attorney General and the institution would also put their defense and see. But the crux of the matter is that if you were employed after December 7 and they have checked, like I'm saying, people who were employed first, and we have realized that you had not even gone for training and you are sacked, you come and say that I have been sacked. When you knew that the writing wasn't done, and when you were even giving an appointment letter, you did not complain to the employer, say, oh, it's not that I'm coming for training, or when it's been backdated. So you yourself, you were a corporate. You are part of the system that bent the procedure, bent the rules. So we can do the right thing, and for me, let the right thing be done. Listen, I have lived one principle. Do not put thorn in the pathway of your enemies or opponent. Because one day, you yourself or your children may tread that pathway. So I won't do this, but the right thing must be done. The law must be followed. And the law is the law.
Lawyer Shak,
yes.
Where do you stand on this?
I'm actually very saddened this morning.
You're sad?
I'm saddened. I'm very saddened. I mean, yes. Especially having listened to my senior colleague.
You're fasting. Shouldn't be sad.
Well, having listened to him, you see, the future of this country is at stake. Instead of building a country, we are building a 40 towers.
So these are the, how do you call it?
The names of those who have been fired.
Yes, so Mebela Pete, Yamusa Mohamed Yasin, Richard Otu, Swatson, Joseph Boateng, about almost 40 of them. Yes, please go ahead.
So as I said, instead of building a country...
So the plaintiffs, that's what I was looking for.
Yes, right. Instead of building a country, we are building 40 towers. And those who are supposed to lead that, this is my senior colleague. I think he was going to adopt as a lawyer what he might not call categorical imperative. Something is wrong regardless of what. Now, he said Osman Ayerika should actually be commended, but at least he has spoken what people wouldn't usually speak, by simply implement. I will condemn what people implement behind the scene. I'll even forcefully condemn what somebody has openly said. God forbid if Ghana were to be facing what Ukraine is facing, threat to the life of the nation. Are you going to call NDC members to fight? Or the conscription call from the army is going to call upon every Ghanaian who can help defend the nation? And if you are advocating this way in a national TV, then I'm very sad about the future of our republic. We are building a 40 towers. I agree that going to court for these individuals was the right thing to do. You see, when you become a president, your mandate ends at midnight on the 6th of January. Akufo-Addo mandate, the administration mandate, ends on midnight on 6th. And whatever they do within that particular period, it doesn't matter whether the election had already been declared. And we ought to respect that. You cannot just say that simple because, and the Transition Act did not forbid him from making an appointment. No, it doesn't. He might have to account for what they have done and what the new administration needs to be done. But it does not forbid the president or administration from making appointments. And if those appointments is duly made, especially when you people took over, immediately what you said is that you order head of every institutions to provide lists of people who were employed. I think from 1st November or at some point, I don't remember the exact date. And we're already suspicious of what you're going to do. And you did follow suit by sacking those particular individuals. And now you are citing the Transition Act, who says nothing about firing people who are recruited during transition period. You get your opportunity. You get your opportunity. I allow you to speak throughout the period. So, though I disagree with most of the things that you've said, I wish I could respond to all of them. So, I disagree with you. And I think those people going to court is the right thing to do. And now, he has told you, you campaigned to Ghanaians that you were going to govern by resetting. Resetting means that you are going to depart from the old ways of doing things. And one of them, you said that, as you just said, that Kufuor was government, was recruiting mostly MPP members. And you actually even contradicted yourself here. You have just said your own family members have been fired. That tells me that the previous government were not just recruiting MPP members, they were recruiting Ghanaians.
You see, he's gotten it wrong. So
no,
my family is all NDC.
No, but
my nephew is everything. You see,
no, but what
the first judgment is that all my people are NDC because I'm from a melting pot. Even in my village, okay, my community, they are MPP members.
Some of your children are MPP members. Let's forget about that point. Don't hijack that point. Okay, some of your children are MPP members. Let's not hijack that point. But the fact is that he has just told you that you campaign on resetting. And if you are campaigning on resetting, that means that you believe that some acts have been done in the past that wasn't consistent with morality, and you want to depart. And Ghanaians say, well, get power. And what are you doing? You are going back to what happened in the past, and you are using the past to justify your action. For me, those people are Ghanaians. The person with the power to appoint was a president, and the power is given to him up to midnight of the 6th. And honorable, let's be honest. Wouldn't you agree with me that you cannot be right by arguing that we have to be consistently wrong to be right? So if something was wrong, you are doing exactly the same.
So Isha, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Are you saying that?
Yes.
Because the party promised reset.
Yes.
So if things have not been done properly.
Yes.
If people have not been employed hold on. If people have not been employed or people's employments have not been properly regularized,
yes,
they should allow them to stay, right? Because the party said it is resetting?
That is not what I said.
Okay.
What I basically argue is that the person who appointed them had that capacity to appoint them up to midnight the 6th. The Transition Act never said you cannot make appointments. He has the power to make those appointments. And I believe those appointments is regular. And that is why I'm very happy that it's now in the court. Because final judicial power rests with the courts. The Constitution is very clear. So they will make these particular decisions. And that is why I'm very happy it's with the court. Now, the argument I'm saying that, he has already given us some information that can tell me they have a motivation to sack them. He had just said that it was a trap laid for them by employing those people.
He said that?
Yes, subtly, yes.
You that a trap set for?
It was more like those additional people who were employed.
You mean that's your understanding of what he said?
Yes.
That's your understanding. So, we're going to be clear on that.
It was intentional done to provide a burden for a new government. That's at the latter part.
You mean that's the understanding you got?
That's my understanding. It's like those people were deliberately employed.
No, for that you're entitled to. You're entitled to understanding. So I don't have a problem with that.
That is my understanding what he said.
Okay.
And they want to remove that particular aspect so that they can govern freshly by employing what they will perceive as NDC members. So I believe...
No, but he just told you that some of the persons who have lost their jobs,
yes,
some of them have called him
and
have actually sought his intervention. And Interestingly, some of them are persons who are even related to him.
And I have just mentioned
to sort of drum home the point that it was not politically motivated.
He corrected me. I just mentioned to you that tells me that those people who were employed, they were not mostly MPP members. They were everybody. Do you understand that? And he made it clear that
logically you're right. Logically you're right.
Yes, some of his members can also be MPP. It doesn't really matter. So my point is, if you
or they may be non-partisan.
Well, I mean, this is why I'm very worried the way we do things in the country.
Okay.
We are just too partisan. We have to reserve certain things out of politics, especially what will come there, our judiciary. If we politicize it, and Parliament is politicized, the executive is politicized, which institution that would be left to guide our republic?
All right.
I'm scared about that.
Ishak, on the last point, I agree with you.
Okay.
That if that is the decision we have taken, we become partisan.
Yes.
Right? And every institution is being done, and we think it is wrong. Let us sit down and have it.
Right.
As a nation, that we pinpoint the indicators that this is wrong, this is wrong. How do we correct it?
Okay.
One head, they say two heads are better than one. Yes, we are faced with a problem. That's why it's not that Ayariga, I was saying that, listen, I commend him because he's spoken. He's wrong or right. That one, they will judge him. But he's been bold to say, this is what I think. Something that people will not speak about, will not face the truth, confront, he has said it.
Okay.
I get that's one. But Ishak, you see, like we've said, in all this, right, we are giving opportunity to everybody. And I'm saying that the reset is not just a one event, it's a process. And so far, it's been done. Ghanaians will be the best
so
judge.
You are formatting. You're not
No. We are formatting.
This is formatting, yes.
No, okay. If we are formatting, at the end of the day, when there is a format and there is a template,
this is a format.
Follow it.
All right.
Are you getting it?
Okay.
It's a matter of
all right. All right. So there's another issue we intend to look at. We don't know whether it's part of the reset agenda or not, but it has to do with our Chief Justice.
Yes.
And what appears to be her fate, which is hanging in the balance. So yesterday, and Annie, please, if you have the statement, can you put it out so that we can read it? Yesterday we saw the statement by I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago. We saw the statement by the Minister for Communications, Minister for
Government Communication,
in charge of government communication, Minister of State in charge of government communications. That's Felix Kwachofosu, who indicated and announced to the whole country what the president has been dealing with in terms of a petition to remove the Chief Justice by 3 petitioners. So, Annie, if that statement is ready, let's quickly look at it before I look at the Daily Graphic story. Okay, so maybe whilst at it, let me look at what the Daily Graphic is reporting. Now, that's page 13 of the newspaper, and the reporter is Emmanuel Ebo-Hoxton, who is reporting that the initiation of the process that could lead to the removal of the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Sake Tokonu, from the office has attracted varied views from lawyers and constitutional law experts. Now, while all the lawyers and experts who spoke to Daily Graphic in separate interviews described the process as a lawful constitutional exercise, some called for constitutional reforms to adequately safeguard the independence of the judiciary. They were private legal practitioner and constitutional law lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, UPSA Law School, Albert Kwashiga, private legal practitioner and award-winning journalist Samson Ladi Ayenene, and a private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu. So last Tuesday, the spokesperson to the President and Minister of Government Communication, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, released a statement announcing that President John Dramani Mahama had forwarded to the Council of State for consultation 3 petitions seeking the removal of Justice Tokonu. The statement explained that a move by the President was in line with Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, where Article 146 governs the process for the removal of justices of the Supreme Court, Superior Court, the Chief Justice, and persons whose offices are analogous with justices of the Supreme Court, such as the chairperson and deputy chairpersons of the Electoral Commission, commissioner, and deputy commissioners of the Commission on Human Rights and administrative justices. Now, before I go ahead and read to you what the opinions has been expressed by the persons who were spoken to, the legal brains were spoken to, let me read exactly what Felix Ofosu-Kwakye issued. Must have been on Tuesday. Great. So Tuesday, 25th March 2025, President Mahama consults with the Council of State on 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice. President Mahama has received 3 petitions from the various persons seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. The President has forwarded the 3 petitions to the Council of State to commence the consultation process mandated by Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, and is signed Felix Kwakye Ofosu, also MP for KEEA. Now, so I'm back to the Daily Graphic. Now, starting with, so last Tuesday, okay, so, great. So last Tuesday, the spokesperson for the President and Minister of Communications, I think I've looked at this already. Now, for Mr. Kwebu, the petitions and the subsequent move by President Mahama in forwarding them to the Council of State for consultation could lead to some uneasiness within the judiciary, but stated that the process was totally in line with the tenets of the law. He explains that the consultation with the Council of State was to determine whether or not there was a prima facie case against the Chief Justice, which would inform whether a committee should be set up to investigate and determine the merit or otherwise of the petitions. The name of the game is evidence, and if there's no evidence to warrant the removal of the Chief Justice, she cannot be removed. Ghanaians will not agree if the Chief Justice is removed without any basis. However, Mr. Kwebu said there was a need to protect the independence of the judiciary, adding that the constitutional review process initiated by President Mahama must ensure a comprehensive change to the Constitution to safeguard the independence of the judiciary. He said the current arrangement, whereby the President also appoints the Chief Justice and Justice of the Supreme Court, did not promote the independence of the judiciary. The current architecture of the Constitution does not promote judicial independence. From the way President Mahama wants to leave a good legacy, it will be good if the reforms will remove the power of the President to appoint the Chief Justice and Justices of the Supreme Court. And Samseladi Ayenene, of course, also had, who was counsel for Chinama, also had his take on the matter. And also, on the part of Ahmed Kwashiga, he said the process did not undermine the Constitution, but was rather necessary to ensure that judicial officers were held accountable. Now, Victor, do we know who these petitioners are?
No.
You don't have any idea?
We don't have any idea.
Okay.
And
I just have a couple of questions before you come in. You don't know who the petitioners are?
No, I don't.
Do you know when they petitioned the President?
No.
Do we know if Professor Kweku Azar's petition is part of this?
No, by law. By law, we don't even need to know.
You don't need to know.
The reason I'm asking is because you don't have to even make it public.
You don't have to make it public?
No.
Okay.
By law, by the Constitution,
right?
It's just that it's a petition. Anybody can petition.
Right.
Once it is petition, it goes to the President, and the President is just a conveyor belt. So he sends it to the Chief Justice or to the Council of State. There are two different procedures. One for the Superior Court justices, that's from High Court to the Supreme Court. And the Chief Justice also has a different procedure. The only procedure is that for the Chief Justice, there's a consultation with Council of State. And this thing that we are seeing is an offshoot of a case that happened during the Kufuor's administration. The case called Ajay Chum and the Attorney General versus Bright Akwete.
Ajay Chum, the journalist?
Yes, Ajay Chum, he used to work
with the multimedia group.
And I think he became the Land Commission chairman during the Kufuor era.
That's a different Ajay Chum.
Yes, So that was where, so you can see now, that provision has been interpreted, the 146, and has given a clearer line of action that has to be followed. If it comes to the Chief Justice, if it comes to any of the Superior Court judges, that is from Court of Appeal, High Court, Court of Appeal, and Superior. So it says that we don't even need to know. Anybody can petition the President, then it is sent to the toll order and tax
there is that the committee will find out whether there's a prima facie case.
A couple of questions for you. You know when Professor Kweku Azar filed a similar petition to the president at the time, Nana Akufo-Addo, and on the eve of his, going out of power, he then gave a reply. He replied, Professor Kweku Azar. Now, one of the grounds upon which he said the petition for him was not meritorious was that the petition found itself into the public domain for discussion. And for him, it was in contravention of Article 146, Clause 8, which you just said, that this must be a very confidential matter in order to protect the solemnity of the process.
He arrogated to himself a power he did not have, the president.
Why?
And you see,
but you just said it.
Yes. You know, he arrogated. Once it goes to public domain, right? You, the president, you are just a conveyor. You send it.
Oh.
So once you send it to the Chief Justice, it is there the Chief Justice will now say, you don't have anything to do with the petition. It is the Chief Justice who will determine that.
No, it is a removal of the Chief Justice.
Yes. No, if it was the removal of Chief Justice.
His was the removal of the Chief Justice.
It was to go to consultation with the Council of State. Then Council of State will constitute, after that, a committee is constituted with 2 Supreme Court judges. They would say that because it has contravened Article 146, 810, that you put it in the public domain and in line with the authorities. So this matter is dead on arrival. You see, sending a petition, I don't think it should evoke any fear or anything, because the tall order is that anybody can send a petition. The president sends it, in case of the Chief Justice, to Council of State. After Council of State, then a committee will be found, constituted, and the committee will now find whether there's a prima facie case. Right. So, prima facie case, it comprises a lot of things. It could be about her administrative.
Say that determine whether there's a prima facie case. The committee would actually make a recommendation.
Yes, the committee, yes. You see, there are 2 procedures here. One for the Chief Justice and one for the judges. Now, if it comes to the judges, when the president gets the petition, he sends it to the Chief Justice. So it is the Chief Justice who would determine.
No, let's go through that.
We determine whether is there a case to answer.
Yes. I don't agree with that. In the case of the Chief Justice, it is 2 justices of the Supreme Court, after the Council of State, 2 justices of the Supreme Court, and 3 other people, but they must not be lawyers or members of the judiciary or parliament.
Exactly.
Do you understand that? So that would be the second stage, that they would then make a recommendation. And they said the president must implement their recommendation. So it is the Council of State that determines whether there's a prima facie case before a committee is appointed.
Before a committee is appointed.
Yes. So you're both saying the same thing.
We are both saying the same thing.
You're both saying the same thing.
We are both saying
the same thing. Yes.
It's just that the
Council of State and the Chief determine whether there will be a prima facie case. It's the Council.
It's the Council of State. In the case of the judge, in the case of removal of the Chief Justice.
Yes, in the case.
Yes.
But in the case of any judge, it is the Chief Justice.
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Is the Constitution explicitly clear on whether, if the president receives a petition by whoever, whether the person is domiciled here in Ghana or domiciled abroad? Like in the case of Professor Kweku Azar, who we all know is domiciled in the United States. Is the Constitution explicitly clear that as soon as the president is given a petition, he has no option whatsoever than to pass it on to the Council of State and say, look, I've just received a petition. Look at it and see whether there's some issue there. And if there's an issue there, we will then communicate. You then, in your consultation, set up a committee to look into whether there is some factual basis or there's some grounds for the removal of the Chief Justice. Is the Constitution explicitly clear on that?
I don't think that the Constitution, or they have interpreted that provision in line with what you are saying. That when it comes to the president, he gets it.
A post office boy.
A post of like a conveyor
yes.
does. But the interpretation we are reading from the Ajay case.
Okay.
That is what it suggests.
Okay.
Now, you see, the interesting thing about the Ajay case was done by Bedietu.
True.
Right?
Asante Bedietu.
Asante Bedietu.
Yes.
And that was his argument.
That what?
Before the court, that once the petition is brought, it just has to be sent to the Chief Justice or the council.
Okay.
But now in office, right? In office, he was doing a different thing.
Oh, so political convenience.
You see, that's where people had issues, problem. That if this was your argument in the Ajay case, and once you are in office and the petition has been brought, right? Why are you now going to decide and say that I have looked at it, or the presidency has looked at it, and this is not meritorious?
But he was only taking perhaps an advantage of what for me appears to be a lack of clarity on what ought to happen exactly when the president receives the petition.
Inconsistency.
Okay, you mean so he must be consistent with his principles?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, he must be consistent. And for me, I always say that, look, from 1992, almost every regime, change of government, every regime, there have been petitions severally for the removal of Chief Justice. How many of the Chief Justices have been removed?
It's failed.
Aqua, during Kufuor's time.
Go as far back to say Akukosa.
Akukosa. Even Pega. I'm just coming. Pega.
Yes.
A petition was filed. What happened? Nothing happened. You see, so the mere fact that a process has been found. Now, with the determination, now it broadens and says that it is not only the Chief Justice. When it comes to Chief Justice, you can also bring in when you think there are administrative lapses, because she is the head of the judiciary, administrative head. So you can't say that it might only be the misconduct or the stated misbehavior should be legal.
Right.
Because if it is alleged that maybe the Chief Justice is taking bribe or she's doing something and administratively, which may lead to malfeasance.
Yes.
Are you saying that that is not a misstated? So in this particular case, it says that even any administrative thing that will lead to malfeasance or anything that will not be in tune with the law could be stated as. But the issue of can anybody petition, it was one of the issues that came up in that matter. And they were saying that Bright Akwete could not. And the court said no. Just like anybody could go to court and say the provision of or this law is inconsistent with the Constitution, and as a citizen he has capacity to come. The court said we should not block citizens. So the citizen, any citizen can petition. The mere fact that you have petitioned doesn't lead to a removal. You need to go through the process and the stated misbehavior or the illegalities that are committed by the Chief Justice that will have to be determined. And the prima facie case is a tall order. You must have a clear and cogent views to put and say A, B, C, D. Or you embezzled money when you were there. This money was to go here, you embezzled it, you did this, you did this. I think when those are clear, then there can be a prima facie. And the court also says that in terms of natural justice, the Chief Justice would have a lawyer or any expert of her own. So it's not just like you go and there's a committee that will just look into your face and say you are removed. We have recommended that you are removed. You have a lawyer, and I'm sure once you have a lawyer present and the recommendation is against you, you have opportunity to go for any court to vent your this and say that look, the evidence is against what they are saying. So I always see it as a very, very tall order, and so far we've not seen any of this petition that has succeeded. But I'm sure the petitioners, they have a cogent evidence, things that have been stated. That one, the Chief Justice will be given an opportunity to also say her side of the story. Both sides will be, and I'm sure the other Outram Party, Natural Justice,
will prevail in this matter.
How about those? How do you respond to those who say that for them, this whole process, they smell a big fat rat, and that they see some kind of a political motive in all of this? So that's what I would need you to please to respond to that. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you on that. Let me just remind our viewers that they are watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television, and also to remind them that they can listen and monitor and follow the program on 94.1 FM. It's a radio dial, 94.1 FM. So just in case you want to leave your home or you want to monitor whilst you're on the move, you can monitor, follow us. 94.1 FM, 90.1. It's crystal clear. Crystal clear. Try it. Try it. All right, so please stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready poor mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me. It is part of the mattress we did the front there. Yeah? That'll be the mattress where the dead go. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like ash foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
You're the answer to my prayers. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, Sankofa,
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Cratchy, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yanfan come and me buruwa.
Mami go buru. Ni atele be ko. Bra, mumi yanfan ko Dr. Ban ho.
Dr. Ban o ya de.
Bra, se ban no mpemu adwuma, sasabro sro Dr. Ban oye.
Sorry ni kemi kwa na meka. Oh no mpemu ni mdi ono na ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra eni kumasi no mpemu expect yen kan kireo.
Was listening to our Lady Chair on ensuring that you have the competencies to be in the place that you are put. And I was reminding myself of recent conversations when people would say to me, "You have held up. You have done well in this onslaught." And I realized that what has held me up is the assurance of competence. Simply, no decision that I have made in my role as Chief Justice or in my capacity as President of a panel of the Supreme Court has come from anything but a knowledge of law. No matter how many noises are made, the law is the law. And the only answer one can give to all the hand-waving is the legal answer, unless we want something else. But I am quite sure that Ghana as a society is not looking for Chief Justices that bend and give them something other than law. And therefore, here I am. Everyone gets the law.
You're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audumoro. I'm here with Victor Kojoga Adawudu, who is a member of the NDC's legal committee, which is, of course, it's more or less like the legal directorate of the party. But yes, the legal committee of the party. And also the man Ishaq Ibrahim, who is a law lecturer at UPSA and also a member of the MPP's legal directorate. So I asked the question before we took that breather. And I said, how do you convince somebody who thinks that this whole petition is politically motivated? What do you tell that person?
I'll tell the person it is not. Now, this is the reason why I'll tell him that it is not politically motivated.
Okay.
If you look at our constitution, the constitution there.
Yes, right here.
It's a political document.
Yes.
Right? we may, in semantics, we say it's a constitutional issue. Now, you see, the Constitution is a living political document that contains our aspirations and our will. So, that is why the Supreme Court is the only court that is given the power to interpret and also enforce the Constitution. So the Supreme Court can make a decision today, and that's the only court that can reverse the same decision tomorrow. You know the reason why?
Right.
Because they've given the power to look at the political environment, the social engineering, what happens within the country, and they'll be able to craft and weave a decision that will be in tune with governance and make sure that they hold the nation, right? So that is why it is so, and that found space in our Constitution. So it is a right, constitutional right, that has been given to citizens. So while that right is being exercised, or may be exercised through political leadership or other political people, everybody thinks that is a political manipulation. But it is constitutionally based, and it is based on law. And I always tell people that if the law gives me a right to exercise, and I go and exercise that right, will you tell me that I'm doing it because people are widely awake politically, and they will always pigeonhole you. There are things that I may do now, they say, oh, he's an NDC man. Like my brother was saying, because I'm an NDC man, all my cousins and others will be an NDC people, which is not the case.
It's not a given.
It's not a given.
It's not a given.
Even my friend. So they are just exercising the constitutional power that has been given, where the court also says that anybody, any person can come and petition. Once you petition, the third order the petitioner will meet is to prove that there is a prima facie case, or the stated misbehavior and the rest. That is what the tall order you have to go.
Okay.
So, yes, that's why I've said that every regime, we have seen this. So, were all those ones also politically motivated? Yes.
Okay.
So, it is just because maybe the people behind, or the people who have seen what they perceive to be a stated misbehavior are putting up. Then, people start to pigeonhole them.
All right.
So I don't think that it is something that a political party or the system will sit down and plan and say we are going to do A, B, C, D. No.
Okay.
Individuals are the people who will do it. Nobody even knows the content, or will know that this is what, until they have finished, and maybe one day we will get to know. It's supposed to be in camera, but maybe when it becomes litigious or litigation comes and the president say, I'm removing you, and maybe we'll see a new scenario and say that no, I've not been treated fairly and here and there, so I'm challenging the decision.
Okay.
That's when maybe lawyers will apply for the proceedings.
Okay.
And once we see the proceedings, it may become public.
Right, Shaq.
Thank you. You see, when you look at the Constitution, it's talk about, I think Article 146 talks about grounds to remove any justice of the superior courts, including the Chief Justice. It says stated misbehavior, incompetence, as well as incapacity, either because of, incapacity because of infirmity, a lack of infirmity.
Or ill-health, or
yes, lack of infirmity, either in mind or body, to be able not to do it. So we know it's not infirmity, because the Chief Justice, we've just heard spoke. Incompetence, I doubt it. Recently we had the opportunity of hosting at our university on a program. The way she spoke, clear mind, she knows what she's doing. So what we suspect might be stated misbehavior.
Or misconduct. Stated misconduct.
Yes.
Or misbehavior.
Yeah, misbehavior includes conduct as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so maybe that's where our suspicion is. And we are right to be suspicious of the NDC. I'll tell you why. And I also listened to what Albert and then
Albert Kwashiga,
yes. Albert is a colleague in the university.
Yes.
We largely agree, even though we disagree very much as well. And something like yes, he has a very clear mind, so I agree with him.
Well, Albert doesn't have a clear mind.
No. I said we largely agree.
Okay.
We largely agree,
then he has a clear mind. Okay, all right.
With something like that, I didn't want to say a lot about it, so I just summarized that.
Okay.
What he said worth listening to. Okay, so please, Albert, if you are listening, I said we largely agree.
That's fine.
Even though we disagree.
No, he's a very good friend. That's why I wanted to be clear.
No, Albert, I mean, he teaches constitutional law.
Yeah.
And then sometime before I go for a show, I pick on his ideas.
That's fine.
What he thinks.
That's fine.
Yes, even though we may end up disagreeing again. Okay, so the point I want to make are twofold. I advocate that our constitution really needs reform. You can say Chief Justice is a head of branch of government. To make his removal, to give his removal in the hands of a leader of another branch of government, simply tell you that there's no equality. Where is the check and balances? So that would be a problem. Yes, and so I would suggest that the NDC, you now have the mandate to even change parts of the constitution. Perhaps we need to move elsewhere where Canada and the United States give it to Parliament, maybe to 10 members of Parliament, even though there might still be some evil there, especially in this our current Parliament, the composition of this our current Parliament. But at least, if we don't want things to be done anonymously. Let's hear the charge in Parliament and her opportunity to defend herself. Do you understand that? I believe it's much safer. You see, when last year there was a similar petition for the removal of the special prosecutor, the NDCs refused the idea that it was merely a conveyor belt. They said no. There was a need for some discretion to be exercised by the president. That why did the president send it swiftly? I remember being interviewed in one TV station that the president sent it swiftly to that of the Chief Justice. And I said, how can you call something swiftly? What the president have done in the last day, this cannot be swiftly. But we're told the president doesn't have discretion. I still believe president retains some discretion. That even though discretion is not stated, but we can infer. If you send a petition that remove the Chief Justice because he had food for breakfast instead of watching, and should the president just send it to the president? I'm using these ridiculous examples to demonstrate that at all points, people who occupy public institutions will still need to exercise what they call it discretion. Because as Aristotle and St. Thomas Aquinas tell us, we are rational beings. And at all times, our reasoning must always agree with our nature. And our nature and our reasoning always tell us we must always apply discretion so that we don't waste everybody's time. So if the president received thousands petitions to remove the Chief Justice, each time he receives it, then you pass it to the Council of State.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I think it's practically absurd.
Yes,
it's practically absurd.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absurd.
So the NDC is now running from, it is not a conveyor belt, it is a conveyor belt. This is what we talk about, principle of consistency. I mean, it doesn't just make sense. So let's come to whether there is a motive behind it. I believe so. I believe this current NDC government is a threat to our judiciary. And every right-thinking Ghanaian must rise up. Why do I think so? Especially the Chief Justice. They already have a bone to pick with her. You remember recently, just about 4 or 5 months ago, when the Speaker of Parliament tried to illegally grab power from the High Court under Article 99 by removing those 3 or 4 members of Parliament. The judiciary had opportunity to first make pronouncements. And when they asked them, we are going to look at the substantive issue later. But in the meantime, let's preserve the status quo. The Speaker of Parliament, who is an active member of the NDC, he had a press conference, or he was in a gathering. I heard him, not that somebody said it. I heard him say the judiciary at the highest level, and the Speaker was in bed, and they were sinning against the Constitution. The Speaker of Parliament, the current Speaker of Parliament said it. And when the Speaker of Parliament lawyer went to court in an attempt to defend the Speaker's position, there was a lot of hot exchanges.
to the point that the Speaker of Parliament was so, the Chief Justice was so frustrated that she even asked, "What are you doing?"
Okay.
Because everywhere the judicial courtesy, you want to.
Yeah, just a second. Just a second. So I'll let you allow. Oh, please, Annie, bring this thing back in. I beg you. The Article 146, the one that you showed us earlier. Yes. Now, the judicial courtesies, I'd like you to come back to that. Okay. But, so, Annie's decision to bring this thing back then sort of draws my attention to something which I thought was quite interesting. So look at Article 146, removal of justices of Supreme Courts.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Superior Court and chairmen of regional tribunals. Yes. Okay. Now it says a justice of the Superior Court or a chairman of the regional tribunal shall not be removed from office except for stated misbehavior, right?
Yes.
Or incompetence, or on grounds of inability to perform the functions of the office arising from infirmity or body of mind.
Yeah.
Now, a justice of the Superior Court or Judiciary or a chairman of the regional tribunal may only be removed in accordance with the procedure specified in this article. 3, if the president receives a petition, now this is what is interesting.
Yes.
If the president receives a petition for the removal of justice of a Superior Court other than the Chief Justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall, watch that, he shall, not me,
I'll come to that.
He shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall also determine.
Okay.
And you lawyers have said it time and again that shall means you don't have any options.
You have options. No.
It means
please. If someone,
apparently it is clear.
It's an operating. No. Okay. Let me come.
Please come in.
I will cross-check something and get back to you.
Okay.
We have a Supreme Court decision in this country that tells you sometimes shall can be read as may.
Really?
Yes. If you want, I've forgotten that. I mean, you can help me. Yes. I've always had issue with that aspect. That sometimes shall can be read as may. And as I've already said, we have agreed this, that if the president were to receive 1,000 petitions a day seeking for the removal of the Chief Justice.
No, you know what I read this to you?
Yes.
I read this to you because you remember your preliminary comment?
Yes.
Your preliminary comment was that, look, you believe the president has discretion.
I mean, because we are rational beings in a sense that if the petition were to say that the Chief Justice had banku for supper yesterday instead of fufu, is that a ground to pass it on to the council?
So we can look at the consequences of the use of shall.
Yes.
Rather than now trying to interpret
so what we are saying is
could
that
possibly mean depending on the context.
But I've also provided to you that there's authority in this country that
says shall
where
can
the
be
Supreme
made.
Court says that sometimes shall can be read as what? Made.
Anyway.
I
am a mere mortal.
You see
so
that?
I won't debate you on this when it comes to law.
It's my turn. But so I was putting the suspicion that we have.
Okay.
I've already told you there were some exchanges in the Supreme Court whereby a lawyer was openly exchanging with the members of the judiciary. And the Chief Justice...
Which lawyer is this?
Listen, I was in court. I was part of that.
You know that.
Yes.
What he's talking about?
So let me count. So you bear me out.
I was there. I was an active participant.
You will bear me out.
No. So
I wasn't in court.
Yeah. So you didn't see what happened.
No. It doesn't matter. But I saw with the telly. I mean, sometimes when we sit home, we see better than what those of you inside there. This is why I don't go to events in Independence Square. When I sit home, I sit proper than you do. But I saw the Chief Justice expressing frustration.
Yes.
Don't you have respect for members of the bench anymore? Because this lawyer was directly exchanging. And as I said, there's a judicial courtesy. I'm trained in the English system. I'm trained in the Ghanaian system. The system everywhere, because this is Commonwealth country, we borrow them from there. Whenever your colleague is about to speak, not a judge, your colleague is about to speak, and the judge signals to your colleague, you ought to sit down. And here is the case: a judge is exchanging with a lawyer, and the lawyer is standing and refuses to sit. This was the frustration the Chief Justice expressed.
How is that related to the petition?
No, what I'm saying is that it was everywhere that the Chief Justice have taken sides.
Oh.
And this is how he's suspected.
Okay, you know, based on that
TV,
interaction.
Everywhere. The second where they said there was a misbehavior
was the fact that the Chief Justice expressed, why is Parliament not sitting? Why is Parliament not sitting?
Do you have the petition? Do you have the petition to say that these are the stated misbehavior?
No, what I'm saying
that you're conjecturing.
Yes, and we are allowed to. We are allowed to.
No, let us.
We are allowed to.
Not let's do something that is not part of.
When she said that,
listen, she
said that in reference to the point that the court has already made an order. Parliament should resume as normal. The status quo is preserved until the substantive matter is stated. And you can also know that the Afrobarometer report, the members of the NDC had polluted the minds of everybody about our judiciary to the extent that this reflected in the Afrobarometer report. But what I'm trying to say, be very careful the way you are running down the judiciary.
Okay.
And now you are hiding behind, you can't state the reason, you can't do this, you can't do this. And
but that is the law. That is the law.
I understand that. And that's why you are trying to abuse the law. You are trying to hide behind the law to abuse it. But I would tell you, I would like to appeal to John Mahama. Perhaps he's more or less like a father, or maybe our age relationship is perhaps an elder brother. If you want to preserve your legacy, please concentrate and deliver your mandate. But if you are seen to be fiddling with this, our institution, you will not have legacy to be left. You only have 4 years. You can't come back again. And this 4 years, don't let people use you to pursue their enemies. Concentrate and deliver. Even though I'm an MPP, I want you to succeed as a brother. I want you to achieve what you told Ghanaians, that you were here to serve. I believe your first administration was a disaster. This is the second administration you need to use to redeem yourself. And don't let people use your good office to pursue their political enemies. And I believe some members of the NDC see the judiciary, especially the Chief Justice, as an enemy, and they want to pursue him. Okay. And they want to hide behind a conveyor belt in a form of constitution. I don't agree with them, and simply just ignore them. And if you refuse and go along with them, you will not have a legacy to protect. The 4 years will use it to jar you for the rest of your life.
So are you saying that when the petition was sent to the president,
yes,
and as the how do you call it, the constitution said,
yes,
which is it says when the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the president shall
But I just told you
I get it, shall. Acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman of the president by the president, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. The committee appointed under Clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the president whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. You're saying that he should disrespect this?
No, but I just told
this provision
you that
of the Constitution?
Sometimes shall can be read as may. But let's practicalize it. I think we've just tried to practicalize
No, you've done that. You've done that.
If you receive about 1,000, each time the operative word shall is used. So let's assume almost every day he's receiving it. Are we suggesting that he should always forward it to
I'm saying that the way to cure that mischief or that defect in the Constitution is also not to ignore it.
It's not to ignore it, but what I'm saying is that there's still some level of discretion. I'm not saying he should ignore anything.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that...
So if based on the legal advice that the president has been given by...
But what we are saying is that when they were in opposition...
They said something different.
And similar thing
with the OSP.
For the prosecutor.
Okay, that's fine.
Some MPP members argue the president was merely a conveyor belt.
Okay.
They said no, there's some discretion.
That's fine.
Now is their time, and they said... There's no discretion. Okay. Do you understand that?
I understand you.
So I'm arguing on principle that they don't have principles.
That's fine. Victor,
the second point is that I believe the Constitution really needs to be amended.
I agree with you.
I don't agree that another organ of government should be removed by another organ.
So, for instance, in reviewing the Constitution, the president should be given explicit discretion to look at it and say, well, this doesn't...
No. I just want it to be taken away from the president to Parliament. That's my recommendation.
Really?
To 10 majority of Parliament. And we must hear the Chief Justice and the reason for removal in public.
So Parliament must vote.
Removal. Yes,
so Parliament will have a look at the...
To put safeguard to check of parliamentarians. we probably need to remove it with the agreement of the president.
Yeah, but
and the president will sign just like the
that
bill.
can be a tall order.
Well, I'm a chief organ of government. That's how we remove the president. To remove the president, we need to tell majority of parliament to say so.
But the president is primus inter pares. The chief justice is not primus inter pares.
No.
I don't know why you want to make the two of them analogous.
The principle of separation of power.
I understand that.
But envision that this is an equal branch.
But the separation of powers deals more with equity, not necessarily equality. Which is that, you have just talked about the president appointing the chief justice. The chief justice does not appoint the president.
No, that's why I said take it away. The president shouldn't be appointing the chief justice. We must have a system in place. Perhaps the judiciary should find a way appointing.
I get the point. I get your point now.
Maybe in the case of appointment, the president should be used like a conveyor belt. The judiciary will decide who should be the chief justice. So that we make sure that more senior lawyers, I mean, the way we appoint people now, there should be a problem.
I understand.
I've seen some, I may have favoritism. A justice of the Court of Appeal taught me interpretation. I think he's very competent. But yet, he's still in the Court of Appeal. His genius are sent to the Supreme Court.
All right.
It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Kojoka, can we wrap up on this and move on to...
You see,
we want to visit the Dubai.
No, we'll visit. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
He's not too far from here.
You see, my colleague, I'm sure that if he really reads the Ejechum Authority, which I'll ask him to maybe read more on this subject matter. You see, the court has been very clear on the procedure, and even the shall and what the process in interpreting it has been very clear on that. Now, it is about Parliament does not have judicial power. So what he's recommending that it should be Parliament should be able to remove the Chief Justice if there's any. They don't have judicial power. Judicial power is exercised by the judiciary for and on behalf of the people. So if you are bringing that where the separation of powers are, it is the judiciary that has final judicial power that can determine any behavior by the legislature and the executive.
He miscoached me.
Okay.
So in Parliament, if you look at elsewhere, if they are removing the president or the chief justice, did you see the trial the impeachment trial of
it has a legal basis.
The chief justice or justice of the Supreme Court will preside in Parliament. It's not a speaker.
No. As we speak today, the proposal you are making doesn't have legal effect. It doesn't have legal basis.
Oh, I thought we were talking about recommendations.
The recommendation.
Yeah, you were talking about recommendations.
Yes,
going forward.
Now, to say so, the president appoints chief justice. Chief justice, if you want to remove, will put a procedure.
Yes.
Now, the Chief Justice also determines any behavior which is constitutional, unconstitutional of the legislature and executive, right? Parliament impeaches the president for stated misbehavior, and they will have to vote. So everybody has been given their power and the role to play when it comes to Montesquieu's separation of power. So this is what is playing out.
Yeah.
Now, if you say that NDC is a threat to the judiciary, I think that this statement is not in accord with what we have seen. How do you say we are a threat? What has the NDC
what
done?
You were saying
consistently, if NDC only voiced or vent their frustration when the judiciary was taking some stance and position, and even the NPP itself made it worse, because their communicator will tell you, if we have any issue with you, go to court. And once you go to court, what they have said
it's an expression of confidence.
Becomes an end. What comes the end? It becomes unanimous. Everything was unanimous. Every time they had issue. So if I have a reservation, I have a reservation. Look, the law
say go to court.
You see, where the law, listen, where the law.
Arms?
No, please. You had your turn. You had your turn. Ishak, you had your turn.
Okay.
When the law, you see, the law is there. The law is a double-edged sword. It's in the hands of the person. He can use it for good and can use it for evil. And if you are using it for evil, and somebody thinks that the way you are crafting the judgment and others, I don't have that confidence that when I come, I will get the deserved justice I want. So I'm going to do my things in a way that I won't be able to come. Now, listen, no. When you say that, so if you say that it's a threat to judiciary, I think that it's unfortunate for you to say that, right? When you were trying to, the perception people had, citizens had, that you were trying to use the judiciary to weaken the legislature. Even your own dean said it in public. No. He said that every time the legislature, any issue they run to the court, they are weakening the judiciary. And when somebody says that, no, I've also been given power under the Constitution, I must exercise it. And you say that that's wrong. You see, when he comes and say exchange with the bench, it was disrespect. He was not there. I was part of that case. And I went with Sari Tajosori. When Tajosori was arguing, they were asking him questions and he was responding. And even what worsened the case was that at the time, Dami was questioning the legality of he being retained as a lawyer. When the speaker has appointed a lawyer, he says that it was public and you have to go to. And he was telling him that, look, even when we come, let's talk about, now you are talking about how I have been appointed, that the speaker does not have power to appoint me. And he was telling him that, look, parliamentary service had approved that he should be appointed. He had a letter, Dami had a letter, but he refused to make it available. And the man was just trying to say that this is how parliamentary service, you come and you say ethics, we were exchanging. So if the truth is not coming out, the lawyer should be quiet. He doesn't have right to say this is the position. Okay. That is what you are saying. So if please.
He's responding to me now.
Yeah, so I'm telling you that all that he said, listen, please, there's a procedure. There is a shall. Okay. Now, where you are asking the shall and the may, it's in the Interpretation Act. Okay. Are you getting it? The Interpretation Act says, but this is the Constitution, the highest law of this country.
You mean the court pronouncement was on the Interpretation Act?
Yes. Interpretation
I don't
Act.
Remember. I'm going to reference it because
look
I
at the Interpretation Act.
How a judge can just change
yes, the Interpretation Act. And the court has made it clear when it comes to the process. And
but
in
practical terms, you don't agree that the president should have some, at least minimal discretion as to what to send.
You see,
otherwise tomorrow we are going to flood him with
the framers,
and he shall send them.
But yes,
if this is why you are advocating,
that is what. You can. You see,
and we flood him with petition, and if he fails to do so, we'll take him to court.
Is that what you want? Listen, if he flood, he will send it. Once he send, the Chief Justice.
If you are listening, the president is a conveyor belt. Send whatever petition you want. He shall send it to the Council of State.
If it is frivolous, and the Chief Justice look at it and say this is frivolous, and it's thrown out, what is the problem?
So
you have followed the process.
He has no discretion.
Go through the due process. Don't arrogate to yourself what the Constitution has not given you.
All he's saying is that there's something defective there. And it lends to abuse. People will just abuse.
Yes. So that's what they do. Even when the Constitution says that you can come as a citizen under Article 2:1. Yes. Anything you think, any law you think that is inconsistent with the Constitution, everybody. Everybody you can come to court. And when the court you come, and they think that it is frivolous, you are thrown away.
No, that can't
be
it?
Yeah. When you are thrown, so if the president, they bring it, and the Chief Justice thinks that this is frivolous, it's a matter of throwing it away.
How do we deal with potential abuse?
No. So listen, the potential abuse, everything here. Look, the Ajay Trum case. It's just I don't want to go. No, the Ajay Trum case. It says something very here. It says that the purpose approach, what he talks about, require that the contents of the instant case, implicit words, be read into the Constitution to avert manifest absurdity. Thus, there was room for the unwritten in a written Constitution. The fact that the country had a written Constitution did not mean that only its letters might be interpreted. The court has responsibility for distilling the spirit of the Constitution from its underlying philosophy, core values, basic structure, history, and nature of the country's legal and political systems.
All right.
So once interpreting that provision, they have put everything, and they said that even if it is not explicit in the Constitution, the court has the power to put it in. That is exactly what they did. Explicit. So if we are saying that, but the court says that is what they did.
Okay.
The reading. So where opportunity? No. How could he read the discussion?
Constitutions are
how can he read discussion? Please, your students are watching you.
Yes, they are watching me. I'll refer them to a book by Jeremy Woodrow, The Law. The law.
Jeremy what?
Jeremy Woodrow.
This is
and that's the Professor Hart. No, let me come. I'm very serious. Now that you say my students are watching, they know I'm not a mediocre lecturer.
No, I didn't say that.
Professor Hart said that Constitution and human rights document, they are written in open textured form. That means that the implementers of the Constitution, it's like a skeleton. So sometimes you need to put meat somewhere for it to work. So now, I've just told you, if you say the president is merely a conveyor belt, if I send a petition today that I believe the Chief Justice have done something wrong, he took Fufu yesterday instead of Banco. Is it just a conveyor belt to send it? If that is so, Ghanaians listen, send a little petition to President John Mahama. He must send them as a conveyor belt.
Oh, okay. When you read 146, when you read Article 146, did he mention any president, any role the president plays in there?
Yeah.
Apart from saying that he shall refer.
Okay.
He shall refer.
Let me do this briefly. Let me do this briefly, please. Let me do this briefly. So Nilathi Vanderpoel sent us a message. It says, "Good morning, Moro. Please tell Ishak that resetting means correcting the wrong recruitment and appointments that abuse the procedure and processes.
Tell him
no recruitment.
I've always admired him from far.
Okay. No recruitment can be done without advertising. Even internal employment have to be advertised on the institution's notice boards. Didn't the transition committee order the freeze on recruitment after the elections?" He sends that message.
Okay.
This one here from this one. Okay, so McLean, you are talking about Galamsey. Okay, so when we get to that issue, would look at the messages you've just sent. But Carlos from Odododio, he says, with regards to the Chief Justice, let me say that the MPP rep is speaking grammar. I wish that the Chief Justice was sacked even this evening. Moro, how can someone file a case within 3 seconds and then you sit on the case and rule on it, delivering judgments while other cases have been pending in the same secretariat for many years without being heard? Such a biased person should be sacked immediately. Carlos from Odododio. He continues to say, please extend my regards to lawyer Kojoga Daudu. He said it's been a long time and that he should please get in touch. But he goes ahead to say the hypocrisy of the MPP is truly legendary. What did he tell us about employment in this country immediately after his assuming power? All I can say is may God bless all of us. Carlos from Odododio. This one from David Edu says, good morning. What was the motive of the Etwa administration giving employment letters to party apparatchiks when they were informed during the transition period that all employment processes should cease? In any case, the Etwa administration had 8 years to govern the country and could not employ all these people, but rather waited till the last minute. I guess this is a lesson for all future governments to learn from. And let me look at this one from, this one from Simmons. Okay, so good morning, Moro. If my memory serves me right, and Akufo, an immigration officer, was sacked, though the court reinstated the said officer, then the Kufuor's government refused him access to his workplace.
Udariokan.
That's Udariokan. Yes, that's Udariokan. All right, so let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yeah. So the Attorney General's presser he held on Monday, and matters are rising. And if you look at the Daily Guide of today, there was also a counter presser yesterday by the minority in Parliament, and Ernest Kofi Edu in Parliament. We have just 10 minutes to do this, so we have to be very brief on this. So the minority has raised concerns over the Attorney General and Minister for Justice's reliance on media engagement to discuss corruption cases before formal prosecution.
Yes.
Led by the Member of Parliament for Swame, that's John Darkmo, the minority argued that this practice does not only undermine due process, but also risk politicizing the fight against corruption, casting doubt on the fairness of judicial proceedings. Addressing the media in Parliament yesterday, the minority noted that in a democratic society, the rule of law is fundamental in ensuring justice is served fairly and without prejudice. According to the minority, the principle of innocent until proven guilty is a cornerstone of any fair legal system, indicating, however, that when Attorney General publicly discusses analyzes and preemptively declares guilt in corruption cases before they reach the court, it creates an environment where public opinion is shaped before the accused has the opportunity to defend themselves. Mr. Dako said this does not only erode trust in the judicial system, but also causes irreversible reputational damage, even if the individuals are later exonerated. They're contending that justice should not be served on the airwaves, but in the courts. Now, closely related to this story is the story about Mr. Peter Amewu. Remember, the SkyTrain matter came up during the presser. Yes. So we're told SkyTrain probe, National Security Questions, Peter Amewu, and Jibril Abdul Razak is reporting that former Minister for Railways Development, John Peter Amewu, has been questioned over government expenditure of $2 million on the botched SkyTrain project. Reports suggest that he was arrested on Tuesday, March 25, 2025, by operatives of the National Security over his...
Who was arrested?
That's what the Daily Guide is saying. Okay. Of the National Security over his potential involvement in the payment for a project that never materialized. He has ever been released after questioning as the Office of the Attorney General built a docket on the case. The Accra SkyTrain project, which was announced in 2017 by then President Akufo-Addo, was meant to transform urban transportation in Ghana. But the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Ayene, has revealed that investigations in the scandal so far show there was no board approval for the payment of $2 million to Africa Investor Holdings, the company behind the project. So we can put the two together if you still want to comment on the SkyTrain matter. Yes, but generally about the...
Thank you very much.
Ayene's matter.
So I've seen the government, press conference led by the Attorney General and that of the counter one. Let me say this very clearly. Maybe sometimes people misunderstood us. I, as a Ghanaian, as a member of the MPP, and I know most MPP, we are not there to defend people who have taken even one cedi from Ghana if it doesn't belong to them. So for me, there is nothing wrong of the government going for anyone who has actually, if there's evidence to prove that any member of the previous government has even taken one cedi that doesn't belong to him but belongs to Mother Ghana, they ought to remove it. They ought to take it away from that person. And whatever punishment the person deserves, we don't have a problem with that. So let's make that clear. So people will think we are just defending members of the MPP who have stolen money from government. No. But why we say is that we need to remind the NDC government that those powers that they are using are drawn from the Constitution. Likewise, the individual liberty is equally drawn from Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitutions. That due process would need to be implemented when executing those powers given to them. And if you look at the nature of the press conference that was held, you don't need to be a lawyer before you know that there was something wrong. Because we have something we call presumption of innocence. These are still allegations. Presumption of innocence is very paramount. The press conference, the information that was given, the guy has already been convicted in the court of public opinion. Why don't we want people to be convicted in the court of public opinion? Imoro, if you look at our judicial system, it's mostly a common law system, meaning that some of the principles that have been implemented in England and Wales for thousands of years have now drawn to us. The one we can just look at is the Magna Carta. Chapter 15. Over there, individuals have the right to what? Jury trial. His own peers will listen to the information presented by the state and to make a decision whether the state is right or wrong. If the state is wrong, they will send the guy away. And one thing we don't want to do is that we don't want to pollute the minds of those peers. Say that when it's time for trial, and we are picking them from the members of society, they would have already made up their mind that the guy is guilty before even listening to you in court. simply because the Attorney General has given so much information that he more or less convicts in the court of public opinion. That's where we have a problem. And almost every civilized democracy, that aspect is there. Because we want to make sure that the Attorney General rightly convict people who are guilty and set free those who are what? Innocent. Or when they are innocent, you are setting them free. You do not defend them forever.
Okay.
That's what the minority is talking about.
Okay.
Deal with them fairly. And that is what we are talking about. We are not protecting corrupt people among us.
All right. Kuluka.
Yes.
Why are you trying people in the media? Why?
No. You see, has trial started?
And damaging their reputation.
No. Has trial started? Has any matter been sent to court?
He says trial by media.
No. They are saying they are trial by media.
Yes. Attacher process. It says press persecution.
You see, our friends in the NPP, especially the lawyers who are talking, and Daku, MP. You see, sometimes the hypocrisy, and the pretense. You see, when you look their stature and pedigree, it doesn't match. Unless they decide that it is politics, so they will do it. I think now they have found their law books, where they now can read and say that there's rule of law, there are fundamental human rights, and it cannot be done. Their reputation awareness. So when they were doing it in 2017 about Opuni, Thompson, all the cases, and he was not in court, and we said, listen, that one they couldn't advise. All their law books were not there by that time. They had not read on this topic. At that time, they had not read on. You see how they want to. You see, when it is them, the co-post must shit. Look, I'm coming. Oh, wait, please. Now, what the Attorney General did, Moro, if somebody accuses, let's say me, that I've defrauded him or I've stolen his money, and they take me to court, do you ever hear the media, anybody saying that? They say, oh, Adaudu has defrauded, and it is not public interest, right? We are talking about taxpayers' money. The Attorney General is the one who is the principal government legal advisor. He says that I have done investigations. What I have suggests this to me, and he's informing the public about the monies, informing the public that so far this is what I have. Who is the arbiter when we go to court? It is the judge who will determine that every offense has an element. You have to prove the elements. If it is 3 elements, let's say stealing.
No.
Right?
In this case.
No, I'm coming.
You're going to mislead the public.
No, what mislead? It is the matter in court. He's informing his people that we said these people, ABCD, this is what we have done. We are investigating them.
The judge is a tribunal of the law.
Are we
and
in
the
court?
jury is a tribunal of facts.
Who says it's the jury? Who says it's jury that we are doing? Who says that the case is before court and is before jury or before a judge?
Eventually, you'll be drawn from the public.
That is why when you go to court, the matter is pending before the court. You, the lawyer doing the case, by ethics, you are not allowed to say anything in the media. That is why the journalists are allowed to report. So you, the lawyer doing the case, by ethics, you are not allowed to speak to the media. So because while you are trying the matter in court, but the matter is not even in court now. This is just the indication.
They're setting them free. After the media is setting free, there's no. There's no objective.
And it's telling you that this is what I have done so far. This is the information I have. There is 7 or 39 million or 49 million that an individual has taken under the guise of signing a contract for and on behalf of the institution. This is where the money we suspect it has gone. And he's giving information to the public and you say it is wrong. Now they've gone to read their books, law books, now they know that it is wrong. So when we say the man, this is the amount he's taken. If you're a lawyer, you know the man hasn't taken any money. All I'll say is, I'm waiting for my day in court. All I'm waiting is that do your investigations and try me. But you don't stop me and say I cannot inform the people who I'm acting for and on behalf, that I cannot inform them that that is what they're saying. So
the
why are the human rights?
Information you are giving
no,
we are complaining. Not that there is an act, there is a case.
It is his way that he's decided that he wants to inform the people, right? Okay. That this is what he's got.
And there's a good way, there's a bad way.
The people are saying that, listen, we believe, or there's perception that these people have looted our money.
Okay.
Now he says that I have done investigation. So far, I've seen that 49 million has gone into these hands. This is what I've seen. Okay. It is for him to go and prove in court. Okay. And prove the element. Okay. You see, when you're in public service, you should know that at the end of the day, you account for your stewardship. So if the time comes and you are being called, come and account for your stewardship, and my hands are not tainted, I'm clean, I will just come and say my hands are not tainted.
You say he's guilty.
So, no, who has said he's guilty?
I mean, the absolute
no, he never said so. He said so far what he's seen.
He didn't use the word guilty, but he has said it now.
You see, you're putting there. He didn't say so far what he's seen. All right. And he says even the national service, they are singing songs. You know why? Because when they go to the investigation, today they say this, the ship goes, they say this. All in the name that there is some money and he gives information. Okay. Taxpayers' money. So today, if they are jumping the minority, they have seen that it was wrong. So I think that when the trial starts, I don't expect the Attorney General to be coming to the media as it was previously done. Okay. No. Because when it happens that way, maybe the PRO and others will tell them this so far, this has been done. That's this is it. Because the state also has an interest to know whether the system, you are being fair to the people or not. Or you're not. Okay.
So all right. So Alaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, my brother. It's in my humble opinion, it is Hamza, Pig Farm. He says it is a welcoming news to hear the removal of the e-levy and other nuisance taxes. What a relief to the good people of this country. And I think that is the way to go. This was a campaign promise made by the President Mahama and the NDC, and it has been fulfilled. And he said the former governor of the Bank of Ghana has been summoned to appear in Parliament to answer questions in connection with the collapse of the local banks. According to the current finance minister, money that was used to collapse the banks is mind-boggling. The figure we know is far more than what we were told. Okay, so I guess this is where, just 30 seconds. Musa Batwa says that in Kumasi says, I fully support the petition to remove the Chief Justice. Her recent conduct, particularly in her ruling on the birth certificate case and other related cases, were politically motivated, clearly demonstrate a lack of impartiality. As Chief Justice, she is expected to uphold the integrity of the judiciary by remaining neutral and unbiased. However, it is crucial that we ensure our highest courts are led by individuals who embody fairness and independence, not those who decisions seem influenced by political considerations. Yes, she wasn't Chief Justice. Yeah, so it's factually inaccurate. All right, so Victor Kujoga Dawudu is a member of the NDC's legal committee. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning. And also Ishaq Ibrahim is a lecturer UPSA and also a member of the MPP Legal Directorate. Thank you very much for watching Good Morning Ghana. I hope you enjoyed it. And same time tomorrow, inshallah, we will be back, 7:30 sharp. Thank you.